Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 9 of our Hockey Hotline podcast. I'm Dave Walker, hockey manager at Great Park Ice, along with the other hockey managers, Dean Wilson, John Meinberg, and Vince Baez. Today, we have a special guest, past Lady Duck, U.S. Olympian, Division I college athlete, Cayla Barnes, joining us today. Cayla, born in California, was with our Lady Duck hockey program before she left to attend Hampton School, before she landed at Boston College. Cayla was part of the 2017-2018 Olympic gold medal team, beating another country called Canada. Hurts my heart to say that.
we like that one.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, how'd that feel?
Was also the first ever 3-time gold medalist at the IIHF Women's Under 18 Championship, where she also earned a decorated award as tournament's best defenseman in both 2016-2017 Under 18 tournament. So welcome to our podcast, Cayla.
Just a small little resume there, huh?
Yeah.
That's the longest resume we've had of any guest so far. Perfect. Well, welcome. I guess we'll start it off. And what brought you to the game of hockey?
I have 4 older brothers, so they all kind of playing roller hockey and getting into ice hockey. So they kind of all were just playing, so I just kind of followed them. I'm not really sure how they got into it, but I'm glad they did, obviously. But I played a lot of sports growing up. I played, soccer and lacrosse and stuff like that. So, but mostly hockey was really big in our house. So I kind of just followed my brothers. I actually started as a figure skater. So that didn't last very long before I went over. But that was the main reason why I started, with just watching them and seeing them play.
Did you say that you're the youngest of 4 brothers, or how does your family die? So there's some battles early ages for you, huh?
Yes, they were not kind to me. Especially when it came to hockey. So
I'm sure that helped you along the way.
Yeah.
You talked about playing other sports. What were some of the other sports besides hockey that you participated in?
I played soccer, lacrosse, did a little bit of gymnastics, a little bit of, like t-ball. I tried everything. I was really active as a kid. So really just tried to figure out what I liked. And hockey happened to be my favorite, but definitely did play a lot of sports.
Would you agree that playing multiple sports, had a big advantage to your development in hockey? We talk a lot about it. You hear it in USA Hockey. Kids playing multiple sports is huge, and you see a lot of kids now who just cater to one thing. They just literally just play hockey 365. Would you, agree that a little bit of your success could be to starting off early and playing a lot of different things and doing a lot of different stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell, when I'm talking to young kids or parents, I always tell them, go play other sports, go have fun, do other things. It makes you a better athlete. It actually helps you on the ice with, various skills, even if you don't think it does. I've actually played soccer longer than I played hockey up until college. And then I obviously had to pick hockey, but I loved it. And it really, as I got older and hockey became more intense, it was kind of a way to just get my mind off the game and actually give me a chance to miss hockey. I think once you get older, it definitely becomes more grueling. So if you can minimize just that overuse and playing so much as a kid, I think your career will actually last longer, and it'll help you athletically, no injuries, stuff like that. It just helps your body in general.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Cayla, at what point in your career did you really see that, wow, I can kind of go far, I can take this somewhere?
I feel like I never really thought of it like that. I kind of, when I was around 10, 11, 12, I was playing boys hockey and girls hockey at the time. And I was playing on a pretty good boys team in California. So at that point, when I was about 12, I actually talked to my first college coach, not recruited or anything, but talked to them and you keep going, like you could play in college and stuff like that. So I kind of just, at that point I was like, okay, like I guess I'm okay, I'm pretty good, so I could go on and do that. So it was probably around 10, 11, 12 where I started to realize that I could have a future in hockey.
Were you always?
How long did you play with the boys? Did you play till Bantam? I kind of know some of the answers, but didn't you play like till an older age? Most girls stop after Pee Wee. Didn't you keep playing boys hockey?
Yeah, I played through Bantams. I didn't switch over to girls hockey full time until I went to high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that you were driven, like you had the driven mindset at an early age, or did it click maybe later on?
No, absolutely. I had a driven mindset since I was little. My mom talks about it all the time, and she calls me a little bit crazy. And it wasn't just with hockey; it was just with everything. I like wanted to be the best at everything that I did. She told me a story. I was a terrible reader when I was little, and I went into kindergarten and I was the worst reader in the class, and I was like, I don't want to be the worst reader. So I went to the library every day and read books, and by the end of the year I was the best. I read the most books. Like I've always had that mindset. It's kind of just been in me. It just I think it really started to come out in hockey as I started to mature around 12, 13, 14, when I started thinking about the future and college and stuff like that. I knew I had to really work hard if I wanted to achieve the goals that I wanted to. So, but I definitely have always had that from a young age.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was looking at you were part of the brick team, California brick team, and I pulled up that roster. That roster, for people that know California hockey, is pretty impressive. Do you have any memories of that team, and how did that team do when you got to the tournament? I know there's players like Cole Gutman, who's playing Division I hockey, Jake McGrew, who's playing in the WHL, was drafted by the San Jose Sharks. I think Brandon McManus might have been on that team as well. And then obviously I think Vanya, and there was one other that I noticed that are very, good hockey players in their own right, but I think for California, people that understand California landscape understood how good these kids were. So you can touch upon that team and how great it was to be part of that team.
Yeah, I mean, that team was awesome. At that age, we were just having fun, and we knew that we were pretty good, but like we were just 10 years old. We just were like, oh, we're going to play in a tournament in a mall, and it's going to be so fun. And like, there's a water park there and this and that. But like looking back on it, we had some serious talent on that team, and we were pretty good. We went to the tournament, and we lost in the semifinals, I believe, to a Toronto team. I forget their name, but we went pretty farther than some brick teams had in the past, or the past couple of years. So that was a really fun tournament. If I could go back, I would. But we actually, a bunch of kids on that team, we kind of continued playing on, and we got to play for LA Selects and stuff like that. So that group stuck together for a little bit, and we kind of like built a pretty good core for our age group. And I mean, now if you look at where everyone is now, it is quite impressive, I think, to have that many so-called big names on one team coming out of California, where hockey just wasn't as big at the time.
Yeah,
sorry, John. I was saying, kind of going to your point, Cayla, about saying, hockey is not as big back then. Have you seen the difference compared to then and now, and like how much bigger it's grown?
Absolutely. I think back then it was hard. There just wasn't that many kids. Like, I mean, the kids that played were pretty good, but they're just in other parts of the country. There's such a big player pool to choose from and to form teams, but it just wasn't like that when I was growing up, and especially for girls, it wasn't like that at all. My birth year was not very deep in numbers or talent, so it was hard growing up. But now, you see the growth in numbers and girls playing, and it's actually mind-blowing to see the difference that 6-7 years can do, and putting consistent effort into building programs and teams.
Yeah, to kind of play one of the questions we pretty much asked everybody, since we're in California, we seem to be having California guests on there. So being from California, were there any challenges or stereotypes you've had to kind of endure through your hockey journey or hockey path?
Kind of. Most people are just really shocked that I'm from California. They're like, "Wait,
You're from the beach?"
yeah, they're like, "Do you surf?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." But not really stereotypes, more so just like more shock and like confusion. A lot of people that don't know me just think I'm from Canada or something. When I went to high school, no one knew who I was, and they were like, "Oh, we just thought you were from Canada because you play hockey and whatever." But most people are more just shocked because, like I said, it's not as big there. It's not a main sport in California. So yeah, that's like the biggest challenge I would say.
The second part to my question would be, would you think now that you said that there's so much growth even in the 6 years that you were just talking about, do you think that, California is on the map in regards to, player development and, just opportunity?
Absolutely. I think, we've had, Annie Pankowski and me go through the national team program, and then we've had a number of girls around my age, like 98s, 99s, 2000s, go and play in college. So you can definitely see the rise in numbers of girls moving on to go and play in college, which is great because before it wasn't that many, but now they're consistently producing college girls. And I think on the boys' side, it's the same. I think the numbers, you're seeing more and more people from California go farther in hockey and, make it to, either junior leagues or the NHL or get drafted or stuff like that.
Yeah, I could agree.
Yeah. So I guess, you were part of our Lady Ducks program. When you look at that program now, compared to when you were going through it, is there anything that jumps out to you as the biggest change that you can see from looking now?
Yeah, one of the biggest things, honestly, is just the emphasis on getting girls to college and getting girls to be like excited about it. When I was going through, it wasn't as big of a focus. We kind of just played and went to tournaments and stuff like that. But now they do college visits. I've toured a Lady Ducks team last year that came. Caroline Marchant brought a team, and I had the girls come around and see the locker room and this and that. And I think that's huge for girls that live in California, because if they can't see it, they can't dream it, essentially. So
Absolutely.
I think I think it's huge that they do things like that and encourage girls to want to play in college and want to achieve that goal. It puts it in their heads and it gives them something to work towards. So I think that's honestly the biggest thing, because girls on the East Coast, there's BC, BU, like Providence, like all these colleges are around. They can go to games whenever, but in California, we can't go to any college games, for women's hockey that like is Division I. So I think that's like the biggest thing is giving girls the opportunity to be able to see older girls go through like that process and see that they have like made it.
Absolutely. Everyone kind of, has a hockey path or hockey journey. What would you say to the younger you? Like, what would you say, if you can give, I guess, yourself advice or a young player advice starting off, what would you kind of tell them about the journey?
I would tell my younger self that it wasn't going to be easy, but it would be worth it. And I would tell myself not to stress out as much. I used to stress out a lot about things, and I would, sometimes it would take away from the fun of the game because, you're so worried about getting recruited or making a national team or this or that you just like lose sight of why you're even playing.
That's
and
awesome.
When you get older in college, they say college hockey is like a job, and they're not lying when they say that. I mean, it's a fun job, but it's a lot. And so I would just say to just like have more fun with it and enjoy it, because I feel like when I was younger, I had so many cool experiences, like the brick tournament, and I went to Quebec and I got to travel a bunch, and I just kind of took those for granted. Now looking back, like youth hockey was some of the most fun times of my hockey career. So I feel like nowadays, kids are just like working so hard to like make it to the next level and keep pushing like to get better and move on, but like just enjoy where you are and take it all in, because
I love that.
in a second it'll be gone. You'll be grown up and you'll be working hard and this and that. So.
Yeah, I definitely think with youth, there's not enough emphasis on enjoying the journey.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much emphasis on the end result and not enjoying the journey to get there. So that's definitely cool to hear. You talked about enjoying your time as a youth player and different events and different showcases that you did. Were there any coaches during your youth that you believe really had a strong impact on your game, your development, and where you are right now?
Yeah, I had a couple coaches. Chris Annunziato, he was awesome. Sean Pitcher, Igor. Igor actually coached my brother, so he worked with me when I started to come up through the program as well. So like he was awesome with me. So I would say those coaches, and then on like the girls' side, Caroline Marchant was awesome. Kathy, I worked with them, so they really helped me with like the girls' game, which was a little bit different than the boys' game. But they both sides gave me a lot of different skills, like valuable skills that have definitely helped me reach where I am now.
I think there's a great segment is that you kind of just led me into that question is you obviously played boys and girls. How did they differ? Like what ways do you think that the game's played a little bit differently?
I think boys are just a little bit like more like run and gun kind of thing. Like they don't necessarily, they think, but it's different than the way girls think the game. I would say girls is more, obviously it's more slowed down, but it's more emphasis on like skill and moving the puck and stuff like that, where boys hockey can just be more like, let's go fast and let's go hard. And both are fine. It's just they're completely different. There's obviously no hitting in girls hockey and stuff like that. So they're definitely different in that aspect.
That's cool. Cayla, what made you decide to go to BC? Like, was that always a goal in your mind, like BC when you moved over to East Coast, or is there other school that were kind of like, ooh, that'd be cool to go to?
No, I really didn't know where I wanted to go. I started getting recruited at pretty young age before the recruiting rules changed. So I was like 14 when I started getting recruited, and I didn't even know what college was or what I wanted.
Not a bad gig.
And so I like sat down with my parents, and I was like, I just don't want to go to like the best hockey school right now. Like that's just not what I want to do. I want to look at a lot of schools and see what I like and see what interests me, both academically and athletically. So I definitely I didn't know what I wanted, and I looked at a lot of different schools. I went on a bunch of different visits, even if the school wasn't great at hockey or this or that. And what really drew me to BC was both the academic and athletic level. It's a great academic school, but a great athletic school. And I knew that I could get the most out of my time there. And that's what I wanted out of college, basically. Like it's been a great experience so far. Like we're in the city, we get to have fun, but we are on a campus and this and that. So it just kind of checked off all the boxes for me.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's really cool.
Speaking of which, I mean, we're talking about college, but my question is, what was it like to wear your country's jersey and play for your country? I know we're getting to that.
It's the best feeling in the world. When I first made my first U18 team, it was the coolest experience that I've ever gone through, like being able to represent your country for the first time and be able to play against Canada on like a world stage and have eyes on you and stuff like that. It was definitely, we played in front of a pretty big crowd and stuff like that. And then moving up from U18s, I didn't have any time with the national team. I went straight to the Olympics, so it was kind of a big jump, but I mean, it's crazy to see how big the game is growing. Like we've played in front of crowd, we've sold out NHL rinks in Canada, so it's crazy to be able to play in front of that many people representing your country in one of the greatest rivalries in the sport. So
yeah, that's awesome.
That was part of the question. How long did it take you to get Walker's Old Canada? Does it take long to get into that rivalry, or is it pretty much instilled right away from players that been there before?
It's pretty much instilled right away. You get into the program and they're like, this is the deal. We don't like them. So
This is the way it works.
either you're on board or you're off.
I've kind of got the what do they call it, the 7 degrees of separation with women's hockey, because my old junior coach, Troy Ryan, is the head coach of Team Canada.
Mhm.
Natalie Spooner's brother and I played together pro, and Lamoureux's brother and I played together pro. So I've kind of got the circle of it. But going back to that question we asked about the difference of like boys and girls hockey, I actually think that a lot of the changes that have been made with in the NHL, and we start seeing the different development stuff that we're doing with the boys, it's actually a lot more similar, getting similar to the girls' game of puck possession and skill development and whatnot. So I think there's a lot. It's obviously at the higher level, at the NHL level, it's a little bit different, but I definitely think at the youth level, coaching youth, that there's a lot of similarities now into how the game's being played. You know, the puck possession game, it's not as physical per se. There's more emphasis on the puck possession and making the right play and the smart play. So I see a lot of similarities now with our youth development with that. But I guess to go back to your BC days, if you could let our listeners know, and there's going to be a lot of young hockey players listening that strive to be a Division I college athlete one day, what could you say what is the hardest thing about being a Division I student athlete?
Yeah, that's the question.
To sleep, honestly. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, definitely just the schedule. It's hard. We are go all the time. To give you a glimpse of a day in my life, we have lift at 7 a.m, then I'm going to class at 9 and 10, then I'm back at the rink at 11 till 3. We have practice video, stuff like that, and then sometimes I have class after that or whatnot, or I have homework, and then you find time to have like an hour to yourself at night, and then you go to sleep and wake up and do it the next day. So then you're traveling on the weekends and you're playing and whatnot. So, I mean, it's definitely so much fun, but it's a lot of work. There's never a day where I'm like, wow, I feel awesome. Like my body feels great. I'm definitely always tired, balancing school, and, you're a student before you're an athlete, and academically BC is not an easy school. So,
yeah.
Balancing that, you're doing homework on the bus and this and that, and you're getting back late. So definitely just the schedule. It's a lot of work and it's a grind. I think that's honestly the hardest part about being a student athlete, but at the same time, it's so much fun. So it doesn't really matter that you're tired, because you're like, whatever, I'm having a blast.
Very, very, very rewarding, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What's your major?
I'm a communication major with a minor in management and leadership.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Cool.
Do you have ideas of what you would like to do kind of after college? Maybe during hockey or after hockey as well?
Not entirely. I've had a couple ideas, but I'm kind of just seeing where hockey takes me, and hopefully it'll take me far enough to where I fall into something or I become passionate about something on that journey, but I'm not really sure yet. So.
That's cool.
Cayla, what are you doing now to stay in a little bit of shape? Because obviously school's right around the corner and we're all stuck in our homes. But what are you doing? Because I know you're a workhorse. I've seen you skate and train. So now you can't get on the ice. What kind of things are you doing to stay in hockey shape?
Yeah, I'm just working out the best I can. My best friend, her dad is actually my strength coach, so it's pretty easy. I get to just go over to her house, and he has a bunch of equipment and stuff there, and he runs us through workouts regularly. So that's been nice to have. I have more equipment than most people do, so that's been nice. But just shooting pucks, rollerblading, biking, just doing things that I honestly wouldn't normally do or wouldn't have time to do, but just trying to stay as active as possible and work out as much as I can. I think we'll all be a little bit gassed when we get on the ice, but, just trying not to die pretty much.
Yeah, that first skate's gonna be brutal probably.
I think everybody knows the first skate's going to suck.
Yeah.
But it's going to suck for everybody.
Same playing field.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to look back through your youth journey, your college journey up to this point, and your international journey up to this point, if you had to pick one memory from each one of those, fondest memory from each one of those steps, what would it be?
From youth, it would be the Quebec tournament. That was so much fun. We actually won that tournament. We were the first California team to ever do that. So that was awesome. We had a blast. We billeted and did so many fun things, and then obviously got to play against some pretty good teams. So that was really fun. So from youth, it would be that. And then in high school, my high school team won, it's called NEPSAC that we're in. We won the NEPSAC championship. That's the first time my school's ever done that. So that was pretty cool to be a part of, a first again. And then,
Not a big deal.
Yeah. And then the Olympics probably was the coolest thing I've ever done. In college, we haven't, in college, I think just honestly being able to like play my first game in college, it was weird because it was after I went, so it was just like such a different dynamic. Like usually you go to college and then you do that. And so,
Yeah.
but it definitely like made me appreciate that, I have somewhere to play and just being able to like go through those things. So playing my first college game was just awesome. We haven't really won anything crazy in college yet, but hopefully in my next 2 years we'll bring back some hardware, and that will
Nice.
Yeah. That'd be
What's
awesome.
what's your greatest, I mean, obviously besides winning the gold medal at the Olympics, what besides that, what was your greatest memory of that Olympic time besides the winning of the medal?
Probably going to opening ceremonies. You get to dress up in the cool outfit and everyone looks the same, and you walk outside and it's literally a negative 100 degrees out, but no one cares. And, there's flags everywhere. Everyone's just representing their country and everyone's just so excited to be there. And then you like walk out and there's like literally thousands of people like screaming. And
Amazing.
There's all, if you watch them on TV, there's all these things flying around and lights and strobe lights and this and that. And it's just like to be able to like walk in that among other like incredible athletes. Like I literally was walking next to Shaun White and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
that's pretty cool.
So like just being like, that was hands down the coolest thing of my Olympic experience. And it was cool to like kick off the games that way.
Were you guys able to ever go to other events and check them out?
Yeah,
Oh,
when
okay.
we could, we went and saw figure skating, speed skating, men's hockey, curling. We were really good friends with the curling team. They were awesome. So yeah, when we could and we weren't practicing and stuff like that, we got to go and see some of the other events. And that was awesome. If I could go back and do something over, it would be to go to more events. I don't think I went to enough. So
I mean, I guess you would assume that, everyone's there, so everyone's trained so hard to get to that point. So I'm sure you've had some cool conversations, because whether it's hockey or it's curling, or whatever it may be, these are elite athletes who have done everything they could to get at that, to that form or to that where it's at. So I'm sure you probably had some pretty cool conversations throughout the time there.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone's journey is different and every sport is so different. Just like listening to people talk about their journeys and where they've come from or what they've had to do.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool for sure. And then talking to people from other countries, you're in like we call it the village where you stay, and every country's there. So you're walking around.
Think about that.
You're eating food with people from everywhere. And so you get to have conversations with them and you get to see how different like the United States training is from like China or something like that. So it definitely was really cool to have those conversations with different people, not only from the United States, but other countries.
Yeah, absolutely. Did any of those conversations inspire you? Like,
I mean,
something I'd like take away, you're like, wow. Like, that's
yeah,
sick.
definitely. I think in the United States, we're very blessed to have the support that we do. And we don't really realize how other countries, especially as like female athletes, how other countries might not support their female athletes as much, or their athletes in general. So it was definitely eye-opening, because we're very blessed as U.S. athletes. And I think we take for granted sometimes like the resources that we do have that other athletes around the world just don't have access to. So.
Yeah,
that's true. Did you ever cross paths with Team Canada during the village? Like, at all, or no?
Small fist fight.
We like walked by them, but like nothing. We don't really speak to them in
Yeah.
competition. We're actually, I mean, we're actually pretty good friends with them off the ice
Yeah.
when it comes to like outside things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
like Dick Walker too. He's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it
I
comes-
think that's one thing with hockey players, whether it's the boys' game or the girls' game, is that I think hockey players do a great job of separating competition and friendship. And when it's competition, it's competition, and when it's over, it's you can talk and respect each other for you're both trying to do the same thing. That's one thing I do love about the game of hockey is that I find hockey players do a great job of separating, that part of it.
Because if that wasn't the case, Dave, you wouldn't have too many friends out there, bud.
Yeah,
I would feel even.
I have none. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Well, I want to say thank you again, Cayla, for jumping on here and giving us a
Awesome
little bit of insight. I know our viewers are going to be super pumped to listen to this episode, and I'm sure they're going to get a lot out of it. But our last question we always give to our guests is, you have to go golfing with a foursome. Obviously, you're part of the foursome. You get to pick 3 other athletes, dead or alive. Who would they be, and why?
Ooh. Mia Hamm. Scott Niedermeyer. And so 4, like including myself.
Yeah, so
you're
one
the
more.
4, so one more.
Okay, Mia Hamm, Scott Niedermeyer, and probably like Lindsey Vaughn.
Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be cool.
That's probably the out of all the guests we've had, that's probably the most kind of wide range list. That's cool.
I mean,
Kind of spread it out different sports. It's cool.
Scott Niedermeyer is my favorite player in the entire world. Has been since I was little, so got to pick him. And then I love soccer, and Mia Hamm's the best to ever play. So, and then I actually just watched Lindsey Vaughn's documentary. I don't know if you guys seen it, but just seeing like the adversity that she's gone through as an athlete I would love to sit down and have a conversation with her about her journey as an athlete, and her success and whatnot. So if you have time to watch that documentary, you should. It's pretty crazy.
I'll have to check
We
it
got
out.
lots of time right now.
That's true.
Last Dance just ended, so we'll start another one.
Great doc.
Yeah. So
That was so good. I didn't even think about that too. Oh, the basketball players.
yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
But Last Dance is awesome.
great. Well, again, thank you very much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to jump on and give us a little bit of information and give our viewers some information and kind of insight on what it's like to be a Division I college athlete and Olympian and in California raised hockey player that's still in the midst of an amazing journey. And we hope all the best for you and with your
Absolutely.
career going forward. And again, just want to say thanks for jumping on here.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good luck with everything.
Thank you
Good
for
luck.
having me.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Cayla.
And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in to episode 9. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, stay safe.